Final in Linköping. It's the Swedes with all smiles. There's the other riders who will just be known is also runs and names in history books. And Koinimi, the top man in 9th position on 6 points. But congratulations to those Swedes on making it to Fieldstead.
Right, there we go.
Stadium in Gothenburg, scene of this test match between two fellow Scandinavian countries, Sweden versus Denmark. Brings together some familiar names throughout our series of World Championship events here on Screen Sport, none less than the current World Champion Hans Nilsson, his fellow countryman Janno Petersen, and from Sweden, the formidable pairing of Jimmy Nilsson and of course Per Jönsson. Well, the scene is set, the weather is absolutely superb. I'm looking forward to 18 heats of terrific international speedway. Well, the Danish crowd being introduced to, Danish team, should I say, being introduced to the crowd. Hans Nilsson first to show. They are the under-21 champion, Gert Hamburg. The tiny man, Janno Petersen at number 3. Thankfully recovered from the spill the previous night in the first test match. Brian Carger lining up at number 4. Number 5 rides for Coventry in the British League, John Jorgensen. His partner at number 6, at the veteran stage of his career, Bo Petersen. And the two reserves at number 7, surprise qualifier for the Scandinavian final, Jan Petersen. And at number 8, brother to the world champion, Jens Henry Nilsson. Number 1 for Sweden, Jimmy Nilsson. His partner at number 2, the former world under-21 champion, there he is, Peter Norlin. And the captain of Sweden, 4-time Swedish champion Per Jönsson. His riding partner is the Vetlanda King, Connie Iversen. And there we see at number 5, familiar hairstyle of Henrik Gustafsson. Number 6, Luken, Dennis Lundqvist, comes from the tiny island of Gotland. As does number 7, here he is, the Gotland punk himself, from Gotland, Tony Olsen. Rides, of course, for the Reading 4X races in the British League. And last but by no means least, the final reserve from Mariestad, Nicholas Carlson. So the ride is then just getting underway. It's a very, very hot night, humid night in Gothenburg, and the world champion Hans Nilsson getting ready to come out in heat number 1. Heavily sponsored as always by Toyota. So the full lineup for this opening race: in red for Sweden is Jimmy Nilsson, his partner in blue is Peter Norlin. There we see in white the current world champion Hans Nilsson, and his partner in yellow and black will be Gert Hamburg. So Nilsson just practicing a practice start down the back straight. Jimmy Nilsson in red for Sweden. Peter Norlin blue, his fellow countryman, goes into gate number 4. And for Denmark, in gate 1 is Hans Nilsson, gate 3 is Gert Hamburg. 18 heats of speedway, each rider has 6 out-ins, and this is heat number 1. Green lights on, the tapes rise, and this test match between Sweden and Denmark gets underway. Well, the first to show is the Danish pair of Hans Nilsson and Gert Hamburg, but Jimmy Nilsson cuts underneath Gert Hamburg and he's in through to second place. So it's Hans Nilsson, the world champion from Denmark, in first place at the moment. Jimmy Nilsson second for Sweden, Gert Hamburg third for Denmark, Peter Norlin back in 4th position. Nilsson looks over his shoulder, that's Hans Nilsson, to look for his partner, sees that he's in 3rd place, so it's his time, his signal to go for home. 2 laps gone. Still Hans Nilsson leads the familiar style of course, the current world champion. Defends that crown if he gets through the Intercontinental final in Bradford on September the 1st. As he enters the final lap of this first. Oh, Nilsson lives! Nilsson's down! Hans Nilsson is down, and Sweden's Jimmy Nilsson comes through. Well, it looks as though he lifted as he went into the first and second turn of the final lap. And Hans Nilsson is a very surprised faller. So it's Jimmy Nilsson that takes the checker flag. In second place is Gert Hamburg. In 3rd place is Peter Norlin. So Sweden take a 4-2 from an eventful heat 1. Then just look, there it is. Hans Nilsson lifts, comes down, tries to bring the machine down, but the fence gets very close. So it's time to bail out for the world champion. And down he goes, and thankfully it's the straw bales and no damage to him or machine. So a 4-2 to Sweden in heat number 1 is Hans Nilsson gets to his feet. 3 points to Jimmy Nilsson and 1 to Peter Norlin and 2 points to Gert Hamburg. So heat number 2, and the Swedish captain Per Jonsson comes out in the red helmet colour. His partner in blue is Connie Eversen. And for Denmark in white, Janno Pedersen, of course the winner of the Scandinavian final, recently seen on Screen Sport. And his partner in yellow and black is Brian Carger. Brian took a nasty fall last night in the first test match in Västervik, but declared himself fit. Let's see if he can withstand the pace of the frantic test match here in the Ullevi Stadium. And away they drive from the start, and the Swedish pair it is who gets to the first turn. Connie Eversen blue on the outside, his captain on the inside. Oh, just look, he lives, and through comes Janno Pedersen. So Pedersen now is through to second place. Per Jonsson lifted, and Pedersen didn't need a second bite of the cherry, he was through. So now can Connie Eversen, of course, from Vetlanda in the Swedish Elite League, keep tiny Janno Pedersen at bay and try and get another heat advantage for Sweden. Oh, Eversen drifts wide, and through comes Janno Pedersen. So 2 mistakes by the Swedish pairing, and you just can't afford to do that to a rider of the calibre of Janno Pedersen, of course, of Denmark. Won the recent Scandinavian final on 14 points, dropping just 1 to Jimmy Nielsen. He comes round to take the checker flag for one more lap, and he's done all the work from the back on that Otto Weiss tuned engine from Germany. It's a beautiful evening in Gothenburg. We're around the final 2 bends of heat number 2. It's Janno Pedersen who wins. Second place in the red helmet colour is Per Jonsson, who comes through to take second place. Connie Eversen back in third, so the heat is drawn 3 points apiece, and it now means that Sweden are on 7 and Denmark are on 5, but Janno Pedersen coming from third to first as he wins heat number 2. Heat number 3, Henrik Gustafsson in red, his partner Dennis Lundqvist is in blue, John Jorgensen white, and Bo Pedersen is in yellow and black. Sweden leading by 7 points to 5 as the starting marshal calls them in to the line. All riders are content. The green light now goes on, as you can see in the distance, and the tapes rise on heat number 3. Who's the first to show? It's Henrik Gustafsson who's there, John Jorgensen and Dennis Lundqvist. It's Lundqvist who gets his nose in front, so it's all good showings for the Swedes at the moment. Gustafsson in red, Dennis Lundqvist in second place, John Jorgensen back in third, and Bo Pedersen tailed off in fourth. And these two really have been a very strong pair, and they were in the first test match last night in Västervik. They know just where each other are going to race, what lines they like to take, and that really in team speedway is what it's all about. Gustafsson at just 19 gained the rostrum place, third to be precise, in that Scandinavian final. You may remember Lucan Lundqvist gained that final qualifying place in a dramatic run-off with Brian Carger. So 2 men with plenty to celebrate as they take the flag for one more lap in heat number 3. Gustafsson down the back straight for the final time. Lundqvist can't afford to make his mistake because John Jorgensen tries to cut underneath him. Has he got the pace? I don't think so. It's going to be Gustafsson who wins. Second place is Dennis Lundqvist. In third place is John Jorgensen. So the first 5-1 of this test match here in the Ullevi Stadium, Gothenburg, and it goes to Sweden. They extend the lead to 6 points. It's now Sweden 12 and Denmark 6, and it's Henrik Gustafsson who wins heat number 3. So the crowd pensive as they get their score charts up together. So we go on now to heat number 4. It's Per Jonsson, second time out for Per. He's in red. Connie Eversen in blue. Hans Nielsen white, and Gert Hamburg is in yellow and black. So Hans Nielsen, of course, the faller first time out in heat number 1, a very rare fall for the world champion. He's in gate 4. His partner Gert Hamburg is in gate 2. Jonsson gate 1, and Eversen is in gate 3. That's the lineup for heat number 4. This 400-metre track here in the Ullevi Stadium, which will be the scene of the 1991 World Individual Speedway Championship. And away they fly from the start. Who's going to get the gate for? Oh, and it is Jonsson and Hans Nielsen. Jonsson is in first place. Gert Hamburg and Hans Nielsen in second and third respectively. Nielsen now coming through to second. and Connie Iverson back in fourth. For my word, Jonsson made a superb start from gate number 1. One lap gone. Per Jonsson, of course, the Swedish captain. Hans Nielsen, the Danish captain, in second place, looks over his shoulder. I think he realises it's going to be a mammoth effort to try and catch this fella here in the red helmet gun with 2 laps gone. Jonsson really is speeding down those straights on that GM engine. Per Jonsson first, Hans Nielsen second, Gert Hamburg third, and sadly for Per Jonsson, Connie Iversen tailed off in fourth position. So we come around to take the flag for one more lap. 400 metres still to ride in heat number 4. It's Per Jonsson in red, Hans Nielsen white, Gert Hamburg in yellow and black. And a stylish ride from the ever-fast rider, 4-time Swedish champion is Per Jonsson who wins. Hans Nielsen in second place, Gert Hamburg third. So this heat number 4, is drawn heat. 3 points to Sweden, 3 points to Denmark. So that keeps the lead at 6 points. It's 15 to Sweden and 9 to Denmark. And Per Jonsson is the winner of heat number 4. So news from the timekeeper is that Per Jonsson has equalled the track record in heat number 4 of 70 seconds set by Hans Nielsen. So a great ride by Per Jonsson. He now adds his name to the track record here in the Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg. Heat 5, Henrik Gustafsson red, Dennis Lufquist blue, Janno Peterson white, and Jens Henry Nielsen coming in to replace Brian Carger in yellow-black. And away they drive from the start. It is Janno Peterson there first, Henrik Gustafsson and Dennis Lufquist second and third respectively, although Dennis Lufquist now coming through. And Jens Henry Nielsen coming through to third place, which is a bit of a surprise over Henke Gustafsson. For 1 lap gone, it's Janno Peterson really is speeding up in this particular race. You may recall he came from the back third to first in heat number 2. But that Otto Weiss engine is doing the biz from the pole position in heat number 5. So 2 laps gone, Janno Peterson in first place. Second is Dennis Lufquist. And third at the moment in time is Henrik Gustafsson, now come through to regain that spot over Jens Henry Nielsen. So 1 more lap to go as he takes the yellow flag in heat number 5. It's Jan O. Peterson. Dennis Lufquist second, Henrik Gustafsson third. So Brian Carger pulling out of his second ride, feeling the effects of that crash in Västervik last night. Going out to take the checker flag. It's Janno Peterson that wins. Second place, Dennis Lufquist. Third is Henrik Gustafsson. So good win for Pedersen as he wins heat number 5. So news from the timekeeper again is that Janno Peterson is also equal to the track record. So he goes a 3-man tie for the track record here in the Ullevi Stadium. Hans Nielsen, Janno Peterson and Per Jonsson all on 70 seconds exactly. Heat 6, Jimmy Nielsen red, Peter Norlin blue, John Jorgensen white and Bo Peterson in yellow-black. This is heat number 6. Sweden leading by 18 points to 12 as you wait for the tapes to rise. Green light goes on and away they drive from the start. Who's the first to show? It's going to be Jimmy Nielsen and John Jorgensen. Jimmy Nielsen, John Jorgensen and Peter Norlin comes underneath Bo Peterson and John Jorgensen to join his partner at the front. A great ride by Peter Norlin, who's the only Swede to fall at the Scandinavian stage of the World Championship a couple of nights ago. He comes through to join his partner Jimmy Nielsen at the front. John Jorgensen still in third place. Jimmy Nielsen, of course, the Stockholm United fourth in the World Finals in 86 and 87 respectively in Katowice, Poland and Amsterdam in Holland. He's in pole position with his partner Peter Norlin tucked in behind him. Nielsen looks over the shoulder, sees he's there, and John Jorgensen back in third position. So coming up to take the flag, the last lap now of heat number 6, and a good one for Sweden at the moment, looking to extend that lead to 10 points if they can hold on. Nielsen red and Norlin blue around the final 2 turns. Jimmy Nielsen comes out. It's Jimmy Nielsen that wins. Peter Norlin second, and John Jorgensen third. So a 5-1 to the home country, Sweden. That extends their lead. It's now Sweden 23, Denmark 13, and Jimmy Nielsen gets the 3 points as he wins heat number 6. Good stylish win from him. Jimmy Nielsen, of course, so unfortunate with injuries in the start of the 1988 season in Swindon, when he broke his wrist and dislocated his shoulder, getting the pats from his fellow riders. And Hans Nielsen there looking concerned at his side, already 10 points down with 6 heats gone of this test match. They lost the previous night's test match by 63 points to 45 in Vestervik, so they really desperately would like to get back in things in this second test match here in the Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg. One more test match to go. That, of course, is in Uttrup in Denmark on Wednesday evening. So really, the test match fortunes all rest on this one in the Ullevi Stadium. At the moment in time, 6 heats gone. It's 23 to Sweden and 13 to Denmark. So still all to ride forward. 12 more heats to go in this test match. They've still got several rides to go, so plenty of time for Denmark to pick up. But join us for more Test Match Speedway after the break. Here in Gothenburg for heat number 7 of this test match between Sweden and Denmark. At the moment in time, it's Sweden 23, Denmark 13. 10 points between the two sides. And there in white, Hans Nielsen coming out for his third race. His partner, Gert Hamburg, is in yellow and black. And for Sweden, it's Henrik Gustafsson in red and Dennis Lundqvist. As you know, Paul, the world champion, was a faller in his first outing, gaining 2 points in his second race. So still to win his first ride, which is something of a surprise for Hans Nielsen. Of course, heavily sponsored by Toyota throughout Europe, providing him with transport. So heat number 7, full lineup: Henrik Gustafsson red, Dennis Lundqvist blue, Hans Nielsen white, and Gert Hamburg in yellow and black. Green light goes on, and they race from the start. And the first to show is Gert Hamburg. Gert Hamburg in yellow and black gets a good start. He's with his captain and world champion Hans Nielsen, who's joined in there. Nielsen just taking the lead, looks over his shoulder, sees that Gert Hamburg is with him. Now can he do anything to help his younger partner? Of course, he's the current world under-21 champion. Dennis Lundqvist is in third place. Henke Gustafsson is stopped with engine problems, trying desperately to get going again. Not sounding too good, although he's now started going again. But it's a long, long way clear for Hans Nielsen. With 2 laps gone, his partner still got a fair lead, Gert Hamburg over Dennis Lundqvist. So it's looking pretty good at the moment for Denmark to reduce your ears in heat number 7, something they desperately needed to do. So as they come out to take the yellow flag for one more lap, Nielsen sees his partner's in no trouble whatsoever, does the wheelie to the crowd. So Nielsen in first position, and Nielsen stopped. You know what's happened? Is Hans Nielsen stopped? I don't believe this. Hans Nielsen is slowed up. We'll have to find out, but it does look as though he's miscalculated the laps. But Gert Hamburg, his partner, has taken the lead. He's come through the checker flag, but Hans Nielsen still holds on to second place. And blue is Dennis Lundqvist. But it does look as though Hans Nielsen, the world champion, is mistaken the flags. He looks over his shoulder, shakes the hands of Gert Hamburg, and we'll find out for the interval stage. But it does look as though Hans Nielsen miscalculated the laps in that particular race. But a 5-1 to Denmark reduces your ears. It's now Sweden 24 and Denmark 18. After heat number 7. Well, there we see Denmark's team manager having a word with the pairing and saying, what happened there? Did you really miscalculate the laps, Hans? But never mind, they still got the 5-1, and it's something to keep the fans talking for a long, long time. So heat number 8 is Jimmy Nielsen red, Peter Nolin blue. This pair got a maximum 5-1 last time out, and Jarno Petersen white, and Jens Henry Nielsen coming in to replace Brian Carger in yellow and black. Heat number 8 of this test match between Sweden and Denmark. Away they drive from the start. Oh, and it's a good one for Jimmy Nielsen in red, but look at Jarno Petersen driving round the outside. He's got the audacity to look over his shoulder as he drives down the bend at 180 degrees at something like 60 miles an hour with no brakes, and he's got the audacity to look over his shoulders. My word, what a brave young man he is. Of course, on that Otto Weissschun engine from Germany, heavily sponsored by Sparkassen Bank in Denmark. Jarno Petersen doing the biz for Denmark at the moment. Already got 2 wins to his name under his belt. He's in first place. Second is Jimmy Nielsen. In third place is Jens Henry Nielsen. So at the moment, Denmark beginning to get back into this meeting. If they can hold these places, then it will reduce the arrears to just 4 points. Peterson it is, with one more lap to go. Jimmy Nielsen still second, Jens Henry Nielsen third, and Peter Nolin trailing back in fourth place. So another good race for Denmark. Peterson round the final two bends. As he comes up now to take the checker flag, he's racing to the line. It's the familiar style of Janno Peterson that wins. Jimmy Nielsen second, Jens Henry Nielsen third. So a heat advantage again to Denmark. 2 points to Sweden, 4 to Denmark. And it's now 26 to Sweden, 22 to Denmark. And we've still got a bit of a battle on our hands now before the outcome of the second test match in the Ullevi Stadium is decided. Janno Peterson the winner of heat number 8. The smoke screen is a practice start for the rider in white, John Jorgensen. Jan Peterson coming out for a reserve outing, replacing Bo Peterson. So the full line for heat 9 is Per Jonsson red, a reserve outing in place of Connie Everson for Tony Olsen in blue, John Jorgensen white, and Jan Peterson in yellow and black. Heat number 9. Away they drive from the start, and the first to show is Per Jonsson, who looks over his shoulder to see that his partner Tony Olsen is come through to join him. So the old Gothenburg pump from Sweden, and of course the 4X racers in the Sunbright League, and Per Jonsson of course rides for Reading, so a good one for Sweden and Reading at the moment. It's Tony Olsen on the outside in the blue helmet colour, Per Jonsson on the inside in red, and in third place is John Jorgensen in the white helmet colour. But at the moment in time the tactical switch is proved good for Sweden. Bo Viverbrand deciding to give Tony an outing, and he's coming up trumps in heat number 9. Heavily sponsored by Cementa back in Sweden. Tony Olsen looks over his shoulder, keeps assuring that his partner and his team captain is in second place. One more lap to go, 400 metres of this Ullevi track here in Gothenburg. Tony Olsen and Per Jonsson reassuring Sweden's authority on this test match if they can gain this 5-1. It's Tony Olsen comes out to take the checker flag. It's Olsen that wins. Second place Per Jonsson. Third place is John Jorgensen. So there we are, 3 points to Olsen, 2 to Per Jonsson and 1 to John Jorgensen. A 5-1 to Sweden now means that the score is 31 points to Sweden, 23 to Denmark, and all of a sudden the Swedes beginning to stamp their authority again on this test match here in Gothenburg. So there we see a change of sprocket, change of gearing for one of the riders. Engines are all 500cc, but the thing you can change, of course, is your gear size. Sunshine still pouring down here in the Ullevi Stadium. As we go into heat number 10, you'll see Henrik Gustafsson's machine being readjusted. Jimmy Nielsen red, Nicholas Carlson coming in for reserve outing in blue, Hans Nielsen white, and Gert Hamburg in the yellow and black. This is heat number 10. Hans Nielsen and Jimmy Nielsen far too close, and team managers now getting involved in the confrontation. Bit of psychology no doubt going on here. Jimmy Nielsen decides to get back out of the way while the two team managers still continue with their discussions on the century. The starting marshal now coming over to have a word with the Danish team manager. Seems a little bit angry about affairs. It must be quite easy to communicate between Danish and Swedish. I wonder what he's saying. Good job we can't just translate that into English. Who, me? Oh, trials and tribulations of international test matches. We're seeing it all on Screen Sport tonight. Hans Nielsen falling, Hans Nielsen forgetting the lap numbers, and now we're seeing the old team manager getting involved in proceedings. At long last, heat number 10 looks to be able to get underway. Thankfully, with all 4 riders at the start in the right grids. To recap, it's Jimmy Nielsen red, Nicholas Carlson blue, Hans Nielsen white, and Gert Hamburg is in yellow and black. Away away they drive from the start, and the first to show is Jimmy Nielsen in red, Gert Hamburg in yellow, and Hans Nielsen in white. But Jimmy Nielsen, after all the trials and tribulations, says, I've had enough, sir, I'm going for gold. He's got a lead over Hans Nielsen as they come up to complete one lap. Jimmy Nielsen, as I've already told you, was the golden boy of Swedish Speedway about 5 years ago, fourth in the world in 1986 in Katowice, Poland, and then repeated that dose in 87 in that two-day final in Amsterdam when this gentleman in white was the world champion. But then sadly at the start of 1988 Jimmy suffered a bad injury at his club in Swindon in Wiltshire in England, broke a wrist and dislocated a shoulder, which put his career back some considerable way. One more lap to go though in heat number 10. He's got the great scalp of Hans Nielsen behind him. Thankfully Jimmy Nielsen bouncing back to form and safely qualifying for the next stage of the World Championship in 1990, the Intercontinental stage in Fields in Denmark on August 12th. So around the final two turns of heat number 10, it's Jimmy Nielsen that takes a checker flag first, Hans Nielsen second, Gert Hamburg third. So heat number 10 is a drawn heat. It's 3 points to Sweden, 3 points to Denmark, and it's 34 to Sweden, 26 to Denmark after heat number 10. 3 points to Nielsen and a good win for him in this particular outing. Gets a pat on the back from his fellow riders. Heat number 11, Per Jonsson red, Connie Iversen blue, Janno Petersen in white, and Jens Henry Nielsen coming in to replace Brian Carger in yellow-black. Brian Carger has now withdrawn officially from the meeting, feeling the effects of that fall the night before. Heat number 11. Away they drive from the start, and it's Per Jonsson and Janno Petersen, and Connie Iversen as well comes through the join him. So Sweden have got a 5-1 at the moment with Per Jonsson and Connie Iversen over Janno Petersen, who has not dropped a point yet at the moment. Sweden's Connie Iversen, and now Per Jonsson has been overtaken by Janno Petersen. So a repeat of heat number 2 of this meeting at the moment. But can Connie Iversen hold out Janno Petersen for another 3.5 laps? 2.5 laps, should I say. My word, it's going to be a tremendous scalp if he can come through. Connie Iversen first place, 2 laps gone. Janno Petersen second. Per Jonsson third. Connie Iversen riding the race of his life. He's going to have to go real something to keep this man in second place. Blue helmet colour of 1 more lap to go. Connie Iversen first. Janno Petersen second. Per Jonsson still third now. We're down the back straight for the final time. And as Connie Iversen done the biz in heat number 11, Iversen just on and through comes Janno Petersen to get to the checker flag in first place. Petersen wins, Connie Iversen second, Per Jonsson third. My word, what a race for the connoisseur. 3 points to Sweden, 3 to Denmark, and congratulations for those two riders, Connie Iversen and of course Janno Petersen. It's 37 to Sweden, 29 to Denmark. Let's take another look at this eventful race. Janno Petersen coming around the outside of Per Jonsson with tremendous ease, it's fair to say, at the end of lap number 1. And then on the final turn of heat number 11, Connie Iversen drifts and locks up, and through comes Pedersen to take the checker flag in first place. So Janno Pedersen, for the second time this meeting, comes from third to first in some great speedway. There he is, Janno Petersen. Amsparkassen, the Danish bank, must be well pleased with that guy's performance. So Castrol and so Otto Boys, who tunes those machines to perfection. Janno Petersen, the winner of heat 11. Heat number 12, Henrik Gustafsson is in red, Dennis Lufquist blue, John Jorgensen white, and Jan Petersen coming in to replace Bo Petersen in yellow-black. Sweden leading by 37 points to 29, and this is heat number 12. Green lights on, the tape's raised and the clutches are dropped, and away they drive. And the first to show is Henrik Gustafsson, and Dennis Lundqvist cuts underneath John Jorgensen to come through to join him. Henrik Gustafsson in first place in the red helmet colour. Lukan Gustafsson, Lukan Lundqvist second, Henke Gustafsson first, and John Jorgensen back in third. So good heat number 12 for the Swedes if it remains this way. Henke doing a lot of work on his machine at the interval here in the Ullevi Stadium. suffered problems in his third outing. Scored a 0, which is very surprising for Gustafsson these days. The battler from Kumla, we've seen many times in the Swedish Elite League, and of course that Scandinavian final. Hair flowing from the back of his crash helmet. Got familiar style of Bruce Pennell to some extent. I'm sure this familiar style of Bruce there somewhere. But he's down the back straight for the final time. Lifts, does the wheelie. But it's Henrik Gustafsson with number 5 on his back, who rounds the final 2 turns of heat number 12. It's Henrik Gustafsson that wins. Second place is Dennis Lundqvist. In third place, a long way back, is John Jorgensen. So a 5-1 to the host nation, Sweden. That extends their lead to 12 points. It's Sweden 42, Denmark 30, and this man, the 19-year-old from Kumla, a father recently, just 2 weeks ago, to young Simon, doing the biz in heat number 12, gets the 3 points. So it's Henrik Gustafsson who wins heat number 12. So there's the scoreboard. Jimmy Nielsen on 11, Peter Nolling 3, Per Jonsson 8, Connie Iversen 3. Look at that pairing of Gustafsson and Lundqvist, 7 points each. Tony Olsen getting 3, the reserve and Nicholas Carlson 0. So 42 points after 12 heats for Sweden. Henrik Gustafsson, quick few words. And for Denmark, Hans Nielsen on 8, Gert Hamburg 7, Jano Petersen 12 and beaten so far. Brian Carter 0, John Jorgensen 4, Bo Petersen 0, Jan Petersen 0, and Jens Henry Nielsen 1, total 30. Still 6 heats to go of this test match here in the Ullevi Stadium between Sweden and Denmark. Heat 13 is next with Per Jonsson in red, Connie Iversen blue, Hans Nielsen white, and Gert Hamburg in yellow-black. Well, this has been quite a good pairing for Denmark, Hans Nielsen and Gert Hamburg. Gert struggled tremendously in the first test match last night in Vestavik, where Hans Nielsen scored an 18-point maximum. Well, this is heat number 13. Let's see what happens as they drive into the first turn. And it's Hans Nielsen who's there first. Hans Nielsen first, Per Jonsson second, Connie Iversen third, and Gert Hamburg having a scrap for the minor places. It's Hamburg who's now manages to hold out. Connie Iversen for third place. So Denmark trying yet again to try and get back into this test match. Have they left it a little bit too late? Hans Nielsen pole position. Per Jonsson in second place. And Gert Hamburg third. Nielsen looks over his shoulder to see if his partner has come through to join him. Sadly he hasn't. The Toyota kid in World Speedway, Hans Nielsen, number 1 on his back. Pleased to say that he will achieve that feat for the 4th time in Bradford Oslo Stadium in the World Final on September 1st. One more lap to go in heat 13, but of course he's got to overcome that intercontinental final in Fieldstead, Denmark on August the 12th. A star-studded field. But she rounds the final 2 turns of heat number 13. It's going to be a win for the captain of Denmark, Hans Nielsen, who gets there. Second place, Per Jonsson. Third place to Gert Hamburg. So it is 2 points to Sweden and 4 to Denmark. They reduced their arrears to just 10 points. It's 44 to Sweden, 34 to Denmark, and it's Hans Nielsen who gets the 3 points for winning heat 13. Heat number 14, Henrik Gustafsson red, Dennis Lundqvist blue, Jano Petersen white, and Jens Henry Nielsen coming in again to replace Brian Carger. And the way they drive from the start, oh my word, it's a good start for Gustafsson and Lundqvist. Lundqvist takes up the pace on the outside, Gustafsson on the inside, and Jano Petersen at the moment is back in 4th place, which is not good news for Denmark. Jens Henry Nielsen pulls up with engine problems, and through comes Jano Petersen, but he's got a lot of work to do to catch up the 2 Swedes. Lundqvist in 1st place, oh my word, Gustafsson now has got the tiny Dane, Jano Petersen on his hot on his tail. This is going to be a test of character for the 2 Swedes in front. So far Jano Petersen hasn't dropped a point. Lundqvist in blue in 1st place, Gustafsson 2nd in red, Jano Petersen 3rd in white. 1 more lap to go. This will be a great scout for this pair, and they have been very, very useful, fair to say, in the first match. in Västervik last night and also in this one. Both scored 7 points up to this stage. But it looks as though they're going to get a 5-1 over Janno Peterson. Comes up to take the checker flag. It's Lundqvist who wins. Just Henrik Gustafsson holds on to second place and 1 point to Janno Peterson back in third place. So there we are, 5-1 to Sweden as they increase their lead. Join us for more Speedway after the break. To the Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg, 49 points to Sweden, 35 to Denmark. Here we go for heat number 15. Jimmy Nielsen red, Tony Olsen coming out for under reserve outing in blue, John Jorgensen white and Jan Peterson in yellow and black. And this is heat number 15. Green lights on, away they drive from the start, no problem on the back of Jimmy Nielsen's leathers, but at the moment it's John Jorgensen in white who is in pole position. Jorgensen white first, Jimmy Nielsen second. Then the back straight for the first time. Nielsen trying to make ground on the outside. And it is the rider in yellow, Bo Peterson, back in third place at the moment over Tony Olsen, who's in fourth position. But it's John Jorgensen who's come good at the latter stages of this test match at the moment. Sadly a little bit too late to try and make his presence felt in this particular meeting. So 2 laps gone, Jorgensen first, Jimmy Nielsen second place. John Jorgensen, we always knew he could produce the goods, but sadly he's had not much fortunes at the moment in this particular test match. 2 zeros. 1 more lap to go though, he looks like opening his account. Jorgensen from Denmark in first place in the white helmet. Jimmy Nielsen second in red. Tony Olsen come through to third place, overtaking Bo Peterson. So in the final 2 turns of heat number 15, it's going to be John Jorgensen from Denmark who gets to the checker flag in first place. Jimmy Nielsen second, Tony Olsen third. So a drawn heat, heat number 15. 3 points to Sweden, 3 points to Denmark. Now the scoring reads 52 to Sweden and 38 to Denmark. And that means that Sweden have now taken not only this test match, but the test match series. So with 3 heats to go, the Danes cannot catch up the Swedes. So the Toyota boy, Hans Nielsen, comes out in heat number 16 for his final outing of this test match. Not been a terrific successful one for Hans, just 1 heat win in his previous heat. He's in white, his partner is Gert Hamburg in yellow and black. They're up against a strong pairing of Henrik Gustafsson in red and Dennis Lundqvist in blue. You may recall they beat Janno Peterson, got a 5-1 over Janno. First time he's dropped a point in heat number 14. Something to race for the Swedish pair in heat number 16. Test match series goes on to Outrup in Denmark on Wednesday for the final one. The first one was 63 points to Sweden, 45 to Denmark in Västervik last night. And this is the second test match in the Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg, and heat number 16 gets underway. And the first to show is Dennis Lundqvist in blue, Hans Nielsen white, and just look at Henrik Gustafsson drives out Hans Nielsen. So Lundqvist in blue, Gustafsson in red, Hans Nielsen in white. And my word, this pairing for Sweden are so formidable. Hans Nielsen trying to round up ground on the outside line on Henrik Gustafsson, now cuts back. This of course, Ullevi Stadium, 400 metres long. The scene of what will be the 1991 World Individual Speedway Championship. This year of course it goes to Bradford Salton Stadium on Saturday, September the 1st. News to say this Swedish pairing of Lundqvist and Gustafsson won't be here in about 13 months time. As the sun still beats down on the Ullevi Stadium with 1 more lap to go in heat 16, it's going to be yet again a great scalp for Dennis Lundqvist and Henrik Gustafsson. They can hold on for 1 more lap. Hans Nielsen still back in third place. Surely the Swedish pair have got the bit between their teeth. It's Dennis Lundqvist who comes out to take the checker flag. Lundqvist wins, Gustafsson second, Hans Nielsen trails back in third place. So my word, a 5-1 to Sweden in heat 16 from Lundqvist and Gustafsson over Hans Nielsen. It's now 57 points to Sweden and 39 to Denmark. And just look at Henrik Gustafsson playing to the gallery and how right he's got. He's beaten the world champion in heat number 16. And he's thrilled a bit. So what a pairing he's got with Dennis Lundqvist. Just look at him, 19 years of age from Kumla, with the world at his feet in World International Speedway. So heat number 17, Jimmy Nielsen red, Peter Nolleen blue, Yellow Peterson white, and Jens Henry Nielsen in yellow and black. So Peterson dropping a point in his last outing, his 5th outing. This is his 6th and final outing in heat number 17. Green lights on, the tapes rise and away they drive, and it's Jens Henry Nielsen and Yellow Peterson who are in the first turn, in first and second position. Jimmy Nielsen back in 3rd. So Yellow Peterson looks over his shoulder, now waits for his partner Jens Henry Nielsen. Look at the tiny day looking for him. Jimmy Nielsen back in 3rd place. Has he got the legs to catch up Jens Henry Nielsen? That's where the battle's going to lie. Yellow Peterson white looks over his shoulder, they're still together. A good one for Denmark at the moment. So Peterson on the outside, Jens Henry Nielsen on the inside. With 2 laps gone at heat number 17, the penultimate race here in the Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg. Peterson waiting patiently for his partner. Really slowing up to try and give him the breathing space he needs to try and keep out Jimmy Nielsen in 3rd place. So 1 more lap to go. Peterson first, Jens Henry Nielsen 2nd. Jimmy Nielsen still trying to mount up ground. Down the back straight for the final time for a good heat for Denmark if it remains this way. Peterson on the outside, Jens Henry Nielsen on the inside, and Jimmy Nielsen mounting up ground as he races the line, and Nielsen's done it! Nielsen split the pair in. Yellow Peterson wins for Denmark, but Jimmy Nielsen comes through to pip Jens Henry Nielsen at the line to make it a 4-2 to Denmark. So it's 59 points to Sweden, 43 points to Denmark, but a great win for Yellow Peterson, but a good ride from Sweden's Jimmy Nielsen in heat number 17. Let's take another look at that final bend in heat number 17, and just look at Jimmy Nielsen swooping round the outside of Jens Henry Nielsen in true formidable style. Peterson goes for the tapes, but it's Jimmy Nielsen who splits the Danish pairing. So the riders preparing for heat number 18, the final outing of this test match. We do hope you've enjoyed it. Coverage coming from Screen Sport. Denmark already lost this one and lost the series, but would dearly like to gain something out of this final heat. It's Per Jonsson, the captain of Sweden, in red. Nicholas Carlson coming in, number 8 on his back for a reserve outing, replacing Connie Everson in blue. For Denmark, it's John Jorgensen white, and Jens Henry Nielsen comes out for 2 on the trot, who's in yellow and black. Well, there's Per Jonsson, done a great captain's role as Per Jonsson, 4-time Swedish captain, races for the 4X Reading Racers in the Sunbright League. Down of course for Stockholm United in the Swedish Elite League. So this is heat 18, the final one of this test match here in the Ullevi Stadium. 59 at the moment to 43 in Sweden's favourite. As the tapes rise, now on heat number 18. And straight away it's Per Jonsson, but just look at Jens Henry Nielsen driving around the outside of him. Jens Henry Nielsen in first position at the moment, Per Jonsson 2nd, John Jorgensen 3rd. So Jens Henry, who done so well in heat number 17 before Jimmy Nielsen nipped through, with 1 lap gone, is in pole position from the Swedish captain. Per Jonsson 2nd, John Jorgensen 3rd, and Nicholas Carlson back in 4th place. Jens Henry Nielsen, of course, we did see him compete in the Oulu quarter-final of the World Ice Racing Series. You saw exclusively here on Screen Sport back in January. Oh, drifts wide and through comes Per Jonsson. And that's something the Danes can't afford to do on the big circuits of the Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg, and especially to somebody of the class and calibre of Per Jonsson. 1 more lap to go. When this guy flies, the team he races for also flies. And Sweden it is, the team he's racing for this evening. Per Jonsson with 3 on his back comes down the final 2 bends of heat number 18 to clinch the test match series for Sweden. Per Jonsson wins in red, 2nd place in yellow is Jens Henry Nielsen, John Jorgensen back in 3rd. So that heat is shared 3 points apiece, and the final score from Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg is 62 points to Sweden, 46 to Denmark. So congratulations to Sweden on clinching this test match series, and to Per Jonsson for captaining the side and clinching the test matches. So the 2 team managers shake hands. We look at the away side. Hans Nielsen scores 10 points. Gothenburg 8, Jano Peterson pick of the bunch on 16, Brian Carger failed to score, he pulled out after one outing. John Jorgensen 8, Bo Peterson failed to score, as did Jan Peterson, and Jens Henry Olsen coming in with 4 points from reserve berth. Their total 46. And for Sweden, Jimmy Nilsson scoring 15, Peter Norlin 3, Per Jönsson doing the captain's role on 13, Ron Everson 3, and look at that pairing at 4, 5 and 6. Henrik Gustafsson 11, Dennis Lufquist on 13, and Tony Olsen weighing in well with 4 points from reserve along with Nicholas Carlson. So all the riders, Peter Norlin